Do you also do like formal classical stuff, or have you done that in the past, or have you come more from the kind of folk and popular music tradition?
That's quite interesting. I did it in school. Formal classical lessons in school. I played viola. Then I kind of quickly I quickly stopped playing violin and went on to viola and did all that. Had string quartets at school. In fact, the leader of our string quartet is married to J.K. Rowling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my kind of tenuous claim to fame. He was the first violinist. And so we did that. And there's kind of school orchestras, and then they have regional orchestras, hubs. Now I think they're hubs in cities. But also they'll just pull in lots of kids from all around the region who we used to get on a bus and go to Aberdeen every Saturday morning and play in orchestras. And the orchestras, they got, the standards got better and higher. So we're playing some reasonable repertoire. Then I sort of rebelled and broke away from everything I'd known before. So all that stopped quite suddenly. And I then got into folk because I hadn't liked folk. I hadn't liked Scottish traditional music. I didn't like country music. I hated all of that. It just seemed really old-fashioned to me. And then I think I started listening to Bob Dylan and Michelle Shocked. And they really, I always find this really interesting. They got me back into Scottish music because because they're so similar in a lot of ways. So now I love country music. I love sort of Americana and folk music as well.
So as you were talking there, I was thinking about the difference in Connection Plan and Hedgerow. Like Connection Plan with that opening, and it's just got that vigor and that energy, and it's quite breathless almost. And then, as we spoke about in Germany, that lovely flowing, and it's quite a contrast of styles that you have to reach for.
Yeah, although that Hedgerow solo is also incredibly folky. That's definitely another part of it as well. Is that reflective, the space that can be in it as well. I still think that was really good. I love visualizations with music. They're really handy when you teach people things. There's an amazing classical violinist, Maxim Vengerov. He's a conductor as well. He's probably one of right up there, top of the world's violinist. And when he does masterclasses, he always says things like, so there was one girl who was playing an incredibly fast passage. And he said, he doesn't say, oh no, that note was slightly out of tune, or oh, you need to play it faster or slower. He says, imagine you're jumping off the side of a cliff and you have an umbrella. And so you just go, and you go, but it's floating as well going down, and he'll play it like that then, and you can hear it. You can see it and hear it at the same time.
Did it kind of take that for those first few shows, and after Tring and I don't know, I can't remember exactly now, Tring, Zoetermeer, Hamburg, Oslo, you just kind of, as a band, you're kind of feeling your way through some of these, especially the big longer pieces?
I think we are starting to put the show together. You're in those first couple of gigs, you're watching everybody else on stage. It's as much for me a show of seeing what all the guys do, except I have to turn around and look sideways to see what they're doing. But with the audience going, oh, what is this band going to be about?
Right.
Also doing that, because rehearsals are not the same as performances. You know what it's going to sound like, but you don't know. For example, I didn't know Alberto was a bit of a revelation to me at times because of the wonderful unpredictability on stage of him and the energy he had, which was slightly different from last year, I thought. It was like, whoa, you're really a front man now. And that's really exciting. That was really exciting.
One of the guys said that also one of the nice things about the group is so supportive and collaborative that even if someone came off the stage and said, oh, tonight I was just, I didn't have a great night, you might be the only person who felt that way, because somebody else might be thinking, oh, well, my part of the show was absolutely great. But, there was always an arm around the shoulder kind of thing. The atmosphere backstage and between shows was just wonderful.
It's an amazing group of people, actually. I don't think I've known a band quite like it, where everybody is a people person. Everybody knows how to, I think everybody knows how to work with other people and not let their own shit get on top of it. I think everybody there is quite a stable personality in a lot of ways, but we're all very different. Yeah, everybody's really nice crew as well. We're all there for each other. We all go through those imposter syndrome moments.
Right.
I think most people there would go, not sure, I dropped that bit, or I'm still not there yet, or am I really the right person for this job? I think lots of people have those. We all have those thoughts a lot of the time. And I think being in a musically challenging band can make those rise to the surface a bit more, and everybody recognizes that, and then are supportive in the right way and go, oh no, it was great, look, everybody loved it, and the feedback's always really good as well, because I remember chatting to a few people and went, oh yeah, I dropped a bit there, and people would go, yeah, I noticed that, but it was great, you were great. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it a live gig as well. If you wanted it to be perfect, you would go and watch machines play it, or you would just not bother going to watch humans play at all.
Mm-hmm. From my side, as the fan, and for the passengers watching, I think we'd rather. Well, I can't speak for everybody. I'd rather go for the live experience than to have it meticulously, to the last forensic detail, echo what's on the record, because I can listen to that anytime I want. Whereas those moments in the concert hall are unique, aren't they? Because we only share those moments the once.
Those moments where, I think even the jumping. I started jumping one gig.
Mm-hmm.
Jens, the lighting man, came up, went, the jumping was great. See if you can get everybody to do it. So it's like, okay, guys, we're going to jump. Obviously, NDV can't jump. The rest of them can't jump. But then Rickard joined in the next night.
Yeah.
And then Albie was jumping one night as well. And they're not rehearsed, those things. They happen in the gig, and then they might develop. And then you watch them happening in gigs going, oh, wow, he's jumping as well. He's joined in.
To us, it looks like you guys having a great time, and that energy transmits back, and then I guess we transmit it back to you. It's like the classic thing, hands in the air. Everyone does it, and then it just creates more energy, doesn't it? It's like fusion almost.
Another important thing I think this year, for this tour, was last year we had never played together. Some of us. Before last year's tour, no one had heard me play in the band apart from Greg.
Right.
Along to a gig. And I'd been in the band for a year.
Yeah.
At that point, I'd met everybody, but no one had heard me play live.
Yes.
And Oscar was the same, and Albie was new, and Dave Foster was new, so there were 4 of us contending with that, thinking, well, are they going to like, they might like me, but are they going to like the way I play this? Is it going to be different from what happened before? But we're all busy getting on with that. So you can't necessarily always be chatting about it or propping other people up, or say, and you don't want it to be forced either. You don't want to force people to say, oh yeah, you're great. What you're doing is brilliant. What happened between that tour and this one is the recording. And that was a really important, having a hotel about 45 seconds from the recording studio, and then everybody going out for meals and a few drinks every night, and then just kind of hanging about lunch in the streets. It was a wonderful experience. Also playing together and just having enough time to relax and be with each other as a band. As much time doing that as is in the recording studio.
Right.
On the song. That brings a group together. That gels. The core of the group got gelled at that point, I think. You have all those discussions about, oh, I love what you do here, or I love what you do, oh, the songs are great, or you start to... Then there becomes an acceptance that you do belong, that people do like what you do. You don't need that reassurance anymore. So you go out there as a team then. So we were really a band this time, whereas last year, yes, we were a band, but we were people coming together. It felt like we were a proper team, a proper band this year, a group of people who like each other, who really like each other and really like what each other do.
Yeah.
That's kind of taken for granted now.
Right.
And that changes everything, I think, because that gives you the confidence to go out there and kind of push out.
Long songs like, East Coast Racer is the one that I always use as an example. I mean, there's 11 of you on stage and you're all doing something, and there's no conductor there to sort of, bring people in or whatever. You're just almost like walking 11 separate tightropes together at the same time, at the same pace, and trying to keep each other all there. And that must be so exhilarating when you feel it just... I'm not trying to put words into your mouth. I'm kind of asking, how does it feel when it does click like that with all of you?
For the first few gigs, you're playing in your head what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to be really faithful to what Rachel wrote and did in all those songs. I feel lots of those violin parts are brilliant. The strings
mm-hmm.
are brilliant, and I tried to, but they vary a bit. In the middle of East Coast Racer, the violin lines vary. So the chordal pattern carries on about 8 times or something.
Right.
Every single one of those lines is different. Oscar's playing them as well, I think, on the keyboard. And they're nice lines that they rise, and then they fall, and then there's last year, I think I kind of winged it a bit. And this year, in the first few gigs, I winged them a bit. But warming up every night before the gigs, I think in the last few shows, I really nailed what had happened on the albums. That feels really good. And then you just start to relax. You just start to go, I do know this song. I don't have to be thinking, oh, my next entry is F sharp, and the next one starts on a D. And
right.
I go up here. You just start to feel it. You stop being so cerebral about everything. There's still a bit of that going on, but you can then. So what happens? When you're thinking of all that stuff, you're listening to yourself first, and you're aware of the band. And then later on, as you start to relax, you start to hear everything, notice everything that's going on. And so, when Albie hits those high notes, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. I hit a high note on the violin at the same time.
Right.
And just kind of like, that is the climax of that song, that She Flies.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. It is. I have to pinch myself. I'm so lucky to be in this band. I feel so grateful to be in this band, to be the violinist that Greg saw, that was kind of on his list of kind of, quite like her to come and play with Big Train. I feel so grateful for that. So I'm constantly going through pinch me moments of kind of, can't believe it. Got a crew, look at this hall, look at these lights, look at these amazing musicians I'm on stage with. Can't believe it. No wonder I've got imposter syndrome.
Curious to ask you about how, with songwriting, and how much of that comes to you as kind of finished, and how much of it is, Claire, I've got a rough idea of a violin doing something here along these lines, and then you interpret that and put your seal on it.
It depends on the writer. and it depends on the song. So sometimes people will have ideas for what they want the violin parts to do. Greg occasionally does, but he's very open as well. So all those songs, before we went to Trieste to record them, we had demoed them all at home. So we had our usual stuff of, Albie had produced Love is the Light. That was one of the first ones I got to, actually. So they put about, I don't know, they put about 8 or 9 songs in a Dropbox folder and said, right, pile in. That's the kind of, this is the way it works. And like, pile in and put some parts in. And then we'll let Rob sort it all out. And whoever, the rule is that whoever's song it is, they get to produce it. So they get the say on what stays in and what doesn't. Love is a Light, it was one of the first ones I got to. So I did all these little bits. I did the da da dee 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 da da da. I put that in, and then a few other parts. And Alberta's so brilliant on email because it's all capital letters going, "It's fantastic, Claire, amazing." And then he had a few ideas of other little bits that he wanted to put in. And then I decided there was a long solo section, brass did a bit. And then I thought, oh yeah, I think a violin solo will fit in here. Nobody says, oh, I think the violin should be there, or the violin. You just kind of go, I'll take that slot there. It's a bit of a kind of free-for-all.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. Everybody's quite respectful of trying to leave some room for other people. But so I just, I worked quite hard on that solo. I spent an hour or two trying to, or maybe not that long, but trying to find really nice phrases, because you can improvise along with things and you come up with something really good on the night. And then there's something that's going to be stamped in and left forever, and you want that to be a really nice solo. So I worked quite hard on that solo, and Alberto suggested the end of the solo as well, the da 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 da. He came up with that bit, so bit of a collaboration. But it's nice to write some bits, put some bits forward, what you feel might fit, not get in the way, but be quite nice, and then to have that come back to you going, that's fantastic. It changed the song and took it into a kind of, it's a very spacious song, that.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of room in it. I think there's a lot of space in that song.
But what's your attitude on improvising and playing different kind of solos, just allowing yourself to have a little bit more freedom to reinterpret or reimagine songs compared to how they were played on the record?
If you've got an improvisatory bit, like at the end of the Hedgerow solo, that's a kind of bit of a free bit of improvising for me. Just the last couple of phrases, I'll just take them somewhere else, different every night. That's my kind of treat to myself. But you don't want to, I wouldn't want to make the solo worse from having an improvise. So I know that's the risk you take, and quite a lot of the time I wasn't prepared to take it on this tour. Maybe next time.
No, I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier on, doesn't it? There has to be an element of live performance about it too, not just for us as fans, but for it to be enjoyable for you and fulfilling for you to perform it too, right? Particularly when you're doing 17 shows in 20 days or something.
Oh, it definitely is, because the set was varied enough, the set's complex enough. The other thing that I think these things, you know what I was saying earlier on about things settling in your head.
What was that like, playing a song that was literally the first time that people had heard it live?
All right, actually. Keeper of Abbeys was one, because it's so fast. That's the fastest solo I've ever played in my life. In fact, I couldn't fit all the notes in that Rachel put on the album. I just couldn't. I tried and I don't know how she did it, because there's 150 BPM, that is. That's
wow.
solo. And I'm used to playing reels and lots of fast notes, but not that fast. And it's just awkward. So that was one of the moments for me saying, yeah, I really like that song, but I hope I can do something in this solo. I hope it sounds something like the solo, because it just feels like you're kind of holding on to the end of the horse's tail,
Right.
along the ground, going, I'm going to keep up. In fact, I specifically said to NDV during rehearsals, I said, could you just let's not push forward with that. Can you just sit on it?
Yeah.
It's like, because if you're on the front of the beat driving, I'll not keep up. I'll just fall off that. So I think it worked quite well. I think it came together by the end of the tour.
I thought I should know this, but so was Common Ground the first one that you played on, or was it Welcome to the Planet?
No, I don't think I was on Common Ground. I should know this as well. I think Welcome to the Planet was the first one I was on, isn't it? Which has got Made from Sunshine.
Yes.
And I was a little bit on Welcome to the Planet, and Proper Jack Froster's on that album as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's the first one I played on.
Right.
And I think Aidan O'Rourke did Common Ground. He did much of the fiddle for that.
Because Rachel, I remember Rachel fairly shortly after the Grand Tour announcing that she was going to focus on other things. But I mean, we've all got COVID brain, haven't we, from that period in time, and trying to pinpoint details and stuff. So did you get to meet David before he passed? Or yeah,
I met him twice actually. I met him in February 21, I think. We did a photo shoot. I chatted to Greg and to Nick Shilton. They said a lot of people just left. Would you come and do a live stream with us? It won't exactly be live, but will you come and do a recording with us? That was all they asked me to do at that point. They said, come and do that with us, learn these 10 songs, and then see if you like the band, and we'll see if we feel you fit in as well. We'll have a chat about it afterwards, and then we'll take it from there, kind of thing. But at the moment, let's just do the 10 songs live stream. We needed a photo shoot for that, so I went to London to meet them there. So we had a socially distanced photo shoot in a warehouse. And I met David and Sarah, and I met Carly, Dave Foster, and Greg.
Right.
That day. And I think Nick Shilton came along as well, actually. But obviously, no Ricard, no NDV at that point, and Oscar wasn't in the band. So we had a chat then. And then actually, pretty soon after that, Nick Shilton phoned me up and said, everybody thought you were great. We all got on really well, even though we were socially distanced and, nobody brought musical instruments. He said, would you like to do the UK tour, which was going to be early 22?
Right. The tour that never was. Yeah.
Yeah. And the live stream never happened because everything locked down again. So that had to be cancelled. So later on that October, so we're talking about 3 weeks before David's accident, we all got together in a house in London. NDV flew over, Ricard flew over, Carly was there. I mean, we were all there. It's the first time we'd all met. Right. We had a great day together. We had really good fun in the photo shoot. We all went out for a meal later on. And then 3 weeks later, we got the message about the accident. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. There's parts of you just can't believe when somebody's gone.
Uh-huh.
Especially when something like that happens. It doesn't feel like a possible reality. It doesn't, yeah. Because it makes you realise how, because we all feel indestructible in our houses and cars and with our medicines, and it makes you realise just how fragile life is.
Was the outdoor show in Italy a highlight in the tour? Or, I mean, because obviously festival gig, other bands, outdoors, the moon, the bells.
Yeah, I think it was actually. I think it was because it turned out to be quite a nice day, even though it was searingly hot and there was a long, long wait. And we had that sound check, which is the hottest sound check I've ever done, where at least several, like one of Oscar's keyboards malfunctioned and one of my pedals totally malfunctioned. We were both worried because we couldn't check it before we went back onto the stage. And in fact, I just pressed my whammy pedal and thought, I hope an octave comes out here, because it could just be something really weird. It might have handled itself, but it did. It cooled down and gone back to normal kind of thing. But yeah, that was really good. I'd love to do more outdoor festival-y type things with them.
What was it like going back to Edinburgh, or playing in Edinburgh? I mean, I know not home. It's not your hometown, is it? You're from Aberdeen, but still, I mean, Scotland, like homecoming, that must have been quite nice.
I was really thrilled because I'd said all to the guys. I mean, I know Big Big Train have been to Edinburgh before, I think, haven't they? But not everybody had played there, and not everybody had been there. And I was like, if a Scottish audience likes you, then they will really show that they like you. And Edinburgh didn't let me down, even though much of the audience had travelled from other places. They weren't Scottish, but I think that is true of Scottish audiences. We're quite loud. We're trained to be quite loud in our enthusiasms, to know how to party quite well. So
surely not.
Yeah. So yeah, Edinburgh was great. And it's a wonderful city as well. I mean, everybody just went roaming around. I did get to roam around the city that day. And, it's fab. Love Edinburgh. I hadn't been for many years, actually.
Were you kind of conscious of the approach to Cadogan, going back to that place where the band had almost like made its first really big mark? Was there a sense of that within the band, of expectation, anticipating the climax, as it were?
Was really bittersweet because the tour was coming to an end. We were all going to go home and back to normal life at that point. And so you were really looking forward to something and then really not looking forward to the whole thing stopping. I think the worry is that you're all together on stage and then immediately everybody's going to disperse. Especially, it's really nice having family and friends there, but that draws people away from each other. And we need such a contained unit. So in a way, the night before was quite special as well. On the Birmingham night, our last night on the bus, we were aware that after that last night on the bus, much as we were all really looking forward to getting off it and having a decent sleep in a hotel, that we would disperse after that. So there was a natural kind of slight dispersion anyway. I was just aware that, yeah, sad that the music had stopped. Can't wait to play it all again. Could have gone on. I could have gone on for another month. I was really aware that I needed to see everybody who'd been part of that tour, crew and band, and to have a chat with them. I wanted to get around every single person and have a chat and just reflect and thank them and tell them I appreciated them for what a wonderful time we had. So yeah, that became the next important thing to do. And that's, I suppose, what that after show little get together is about, having the chance to do that. It's only an hour, but you do get a chance to go around and chat to every single person and go, oh, thanks, and you did that. And that was really good fun. And tell people what your connection means to you now.
Do you kind of feel now that looking forward with the new album coming out and the tours next year, that the band's kind of back to where hopefully it might have been, different people involved now, and you know, with the history is there, and that will always be there, but at least there's a lot of expectation for 2024 and where it might take Big Big Train?
There is, because I think we've proved as different musicians that the band still exists, that the feeling of the band still exists, and hopefully has maybe just changed, but is not worse or not too different, in a way that the songs are still being honoured, that the material is the carrier of this, of us all, in a way. And that Alberto's proved that he can, he's just a perfect frontman, very different from David, but also the rest of the band are quite different from David. So at a point in that tour, probably the Italy gig, and this is probably that festival gig was important as well. Us on stage, big stage, cameras, the filming, stuff going up on the screen, bit of a party atmosphere. Our biggest stage, actually.
Yeah.
I was in that gig thinking, we can really do this. Yeah, we could really do this. We could take this bigger. We can do this on bigger stages. In fact, give us a bigger stage and we'll fill it. We'll do it. We'll make it exciting. We won't just stand there in our own spots miles away from other people. We'll connect as a band. And yeah, I really think we can do this. And that was a really nice. I spoke to Albie about it afterwards, saying, and he was like, yeah, we can totally do this. I think Alberto running around the stage, I hope that it catches. I hope this band catches and we just expand our audience a little bit. That needs to happen.